I'd rather walk along the shore for a while.
You're right. That's where we have to look for things we came here for. But there's no need to hurry. There's no time here, remember?
first saw it, it didn't look like a pile of rustling scrap metal at all to me. What I saw was an ancient sea monster, thrown ashore, which was too old to go back into the water.
It wasn't just a trick of the eye.
Sailor, how's it going? It seems a storm is coming. We need to check if everything's fastened. I feel we're in for a bumpy ride.
What's he talking about? This ship is run aground, and it looks like it won't go anywhere anytime soon.
Are you sure? Look at him. He doesn't seem to agree with you.
Well, for him, this ship is still up and running. The moment I saw it on the shore when I took it for some sea monster. It was then I realized there was absolutely no difference between fiction and reality, between the living and the dead.
This is a bold thing to say.
Exactly. You see, I can use my memory weren't the only way out anymore. I realized that I can create these worlds for myself.
You've always
Yes, always. But only now it gave me a sense of freedom. This old sailors and...
Exactly. But there's always a choice.
And it only depends on me.
Hey, sailor, what are you muttering about? There's a storm brewing on the horizon. Get down to the engine room and check how it is. Come on, get a move on.
Look, it really is alive. It looks like it's the heart of the ship.
It is completely dead.
Can we fix it?
We can do anything. Close your eyes. You know what to do. You can open them now.
The best show in the world. I smell trouble.
You're right about that. You're not going to like what you're about to find behind this door. You see, the world we created has one
Alive? What does that mean?
It means that we only lay it. Not everything in it is as beautiful as what we saw earlier.
But of course, you are completely impartial, like a true creator.
That's right, and I'm proud of it.
This is a prison, just great. The best manifestation of life. There are a lot of cells here, Judging by how many digits there are in the numbers, that's putting it mildly.
Oh yes, there are many cells and many prisoners. Their name is Legion. Let's take a look in one of them. I believe there is an open one on the level above.
I'm not sure I'd want that.
Want it or not, we'll have to. That's our job, my friend.
So enthusiastic. I bet he won't go far.
All jokes aside, do you see what he is doing? Watch closely. If you look at his precious screen, you can see that there's another one exactly like him. He's being forced to an electric chair, fed by the energy they're generating with all this relentless pedaling. And every one of them knows that sooner or later, they too will be dragged there and fried in that very chair.
Why are you telling me this? Did you forget you were sitting around here in your oblivion?
Oh, come on. Calm down.
What a loathsome place. What are we gonna see up there?
You've probably guessed already, haven't you? That same chair.
Yeah, apart from that, there's basically nothing else here. Where is the immortal soul in this body?
See this white smiling piece of porcelain nearby? That's a soul.
Enough for what? For a crazy show like this?
Here's our new lucky boy. Thousands of eyes are glued to the screen right now, all full of envy. Are you ready for your 15 minutes of fame?
This Vanity Fair. Is there another way to get out of here?
Forget about it.
No. There's gotta be another way.
Again, I'm sorry, but there's no other way. Sit.
What the heck? No. No! I don't want to go back there again. There has to be another way. Stop him! Where are we now?
I know it was hard. That's why we made a deal a long time ago. Where are we, you're asking? Let's take a walk again. You'll see, it'll all end soon, I promise.
Time seems to have stopped here.
You're quite right. Especially for you. Time here is particularly significant.
changes.
Exactly. It never ends. Another manifestation of life. Perhaps the most important one.
It's not that some armies keep clashing on mythical battlefields. It's just that everyone wants to get higher and crush as many as possible, destroying everyone and everything on their way.
Yes. Perpetuum mobile, don't you think? True perpetual motion of the universe. No more, no less.
No way. Are you trying to say that people are driven to make new discoveries just because they want to dominate the world? No. They only want to trample everything they didn't create. Anything that stands on their way while they try and conquer the world.
Keep talking.
The real force of progress is curiosity. It's the desire to develop and complicate the world. These two stories are easily confused. However, someone else's curiosity can also become one of the weapons in this war.
Do you think there can be one without the other?
I haven't seen anything like this, but I hope. What choice do I have? about them? Did anyone ever get to the top?
To the Oracle? No, of course not. What would be the point of keeping something like this then? What a weird thought. Oh well.
Are you trying to say that we're being treated differently here?
You may say so, yes. But to be honest, I hardly find it attractive. At least it's fun down here. But what's up there? So you get to the top. Have all your questions answered? What next?
Here we go again. It's as if there's nothing else apart from this slaughterhouse down there and the Oracle at the top.
That's how it seems sometimes. She's beautiful, isn't she? Almost perfect.
So, this is the Oracle, I suppose. Now I'll gain some access to some forbidden knowledge.
Of course you will. Come closer. After all, you've reached the top. Sorry, I'm not being completely honest. The knowledge you came here for is no secret for those fighting down there. You're also initiated.
Then why all this? Why this endless carnage?
That's a good question. I've been wondering too. You see, this knowledge is so
Sounds familiar?
everyone wants to reach the top, and which are made from wind and ashes, something called power, control, and 1,000.
See which knowledge you are talking about. Death? No. It's too abstract a word. You're talking about obliviated.
That's right. Each of those people is so eager to stick to who they are, and at the same time inevitably lose.
What about pain? Isn't it the desire to shield yourself from it forever that makes people subdue everything around them?
Walls are made from someone else's pain? No. You already mentioned it.
Oblivion.
Now the Master is ready to ask you his question. He's waiting.